Versatile Mage. Chapter 231 The Great Battle Royale, 2. Wang Liting, that blockhead. Why couldn't he hold out for a longer time? Don't tell me he actually thinks his bone corpse demon is invincible. Doesn't he know that this examination has students in their 4th year? There are limited rookie experts, but the number of experts hiding their strength among the veterans is as many as the hairs on the back of a cow. Snorted the summoner magician Hai Dafu. Zheng Bingshao nodded. Although we don't know what objective Mo Fan wants to achieve by giving up the Shadow Beast, our hope of taking the Shadow Beast is very high. Since Wang Liting formed a group with other people, then we don't need to be polite, either. Do we make our move now? Hai Dafu asked, considering their options. Don't be in a hurry. We, the summoning element, possess a great advantage in a fight between primary magicians. However, once we reach the intermediate level, it would be hard to say, Zheng Bingshao said. Oh, Wang Liting and his squad would definitely pay for their impulse of rushing out first. Even though the Bone Corpse demon was powerful, it was still unable to dodge when it faced off against so many intermediate magicians shooting spells at it. Furthermore, there were many people who had joined together in attacking it. Perhaps not everyone would genuinely try to take each other's lives, but people like Wang Liting, who possessed a powerful summoned creature, needed to be gotten rid of. When the Bone Corpse demon was locked down by an intermediate senior student, a sudden thunderbolt came down from the sky and struck the Bone Corpse demon mercilessly. Thunderbolt was the ability with the most frightening energy at the intermediate level. After the Bone Corpse demon lost its ability to dodge, its posture was extremely weak. The overpowering thunderbolt directly smashed the Bone Corpse demon to pieces. Chunks of blood and feathers sprayed in every direction. Wang Liting's face turned pale as he stood there, as though the lightning had smashed into his brain. Wang Liting's 4 squad members clearly did not have enough strength. After suffering from waves of attacks, they no longer had any thoughts of being arrogant as they pulled the completely dumbfounded Wang Liting out of the place. Humph, he was truly overestimating his capabilities. He dares to contend against us, the Lightning Hat Squad, with just that little ability. I presume everyone knows what kind of person I, Guan Yi, am. If you don't want to fall into a desolate place, then you better obediently give way to me. In the future, if you ever get bullied by someone in the outside world, I will fight for your justice, seeing as we are all classmates. Guan Yi took the lead, working with his 4 squad members to take control of the Shadow Beast. He had cast the thunderbolt that had destroyed the Bone Corpse demon just now. Guan Yi's thunderbolt was indeed tyrannical. For a moment, not a single person dared to make their move. There were a few people who were affected by what he said, and hurriedly gave way to him. Guan Yi's reputation wasn't small, either. He was the most outstanding student of the Great Element of Lightning, and one of the most influential figures of that school. It was said that he already had the ability to enter the main campus. The only reason he never stepped into the intermediate level was because he wanted to receive the reward. He was more clear than anyone on the importance of the 3-step pagoda. Someone who pinched his throat in the crowd yelled out, "You're really acting tough. I haven't been very pleased with you for a while. Everyone, let's go. Let's get rid of this tyrannical guy who ran away from the main campus to the Azure campus." This voice seemed to be from a man. He most likely did that in order to deceive everyone. Violent wave, banishment. As his voice came out, another mighty voice was heard. Just when the people were guessing who was being so audacious, they saw the water by the pond immediately gather in midair. The water was like a curtain as it floated along. Its violent wave, escape. What kind of utterly heartless person is this? Dealing with Guan Yi is like dealing with a large family. Curses came from the crowd. However, no matter how loudly they cursed, they still couldn't compete against the turbulence of the violent wave. The area the violent wave engulfed was even wider than Fiery Fist. It was like a powerful river fell from the skies and washed over everyone, whether they were enemies or not. Everyone had gathered in the middle of the place for the Shadow Beast. This was good for the attackers, as the large number of people there would get caught up in the whirlpool that came along with the ferocious, beast-like violent wave. Water elemental classmates, hurry up and deal with it. With each less competitor, it'll mean a bit more hope. The person who was holding his throat once again called out. An intermediate water magician naturally had the ability to walk on water. They stepped on the waters as they retreated to a safe place. However, once they saw the people who were being engulfed by the violent wave, their eyes also began to shine. Yeah, wasn't it better if they just made it more chaotic now? Use the violent wave that engulfed the widest area to drive away those people who were a hindrance. Behind the maple tree, a girl's strict voice sounded out, "Violent wave. Violent wave." Outside of the building, yet another water star atlas emerged. Violent wave, raging waves. They didn't know which incredibly powerful water magician it was that last time, but the violent wave they cast was even more dreadful. Everyone could clearly see that there were layers of raging waves swirling in the middle of the plaza. It wasn't just the banishment of a flood, it was simply swallowing all the people and then slamming their bones until they shattered. The water magicians were simply revolting, each one more violent and condescending than the next. They used the force of the violent wave to completely ruin near 100 students. Fortunately, none of them wanted to deal a life-threatening wound to the others, or else there would have been many people that would have drowned underneath the layers and layers of engulfing violent waves. Among the students, there was still a few good-natured girls. They did their best to think of ways to save the people trapped within the whirlpool. The violent wave was indeed tyrannical. The people caught within the whirlpool could not be rescued. The entire plaza had been turned into a lake. It was similar to the rapid river on a tempestuous day as it drowned the trees and roads. Mo Fan had run to a higher location, riding on the spirit wolf. He watched the surging flood, feeling great caution as he did so. If magicians gathered and used the exact same magic, the destructive power could be devastating. Even some outstanding young 4-element intermediate magicians who were confident in their strength would be eliminated by this kind of joint effort. There were many magicians who possessed incredible destructive power, but as for the defensive capabilities, they could only be considered mediocre. After the layers and layers of violent wave crashed down, they got rid of a large number of people. The people that were being washed away numbered only 100 or so, but the people who had thoroughly lost their motivation to contend against something like this numbered a lot more. They could only obediently run away to hide in the distance. Reaching the intermediate level was one thing, and being able to draw a star atlas was another. For those who were unable to adeptly draw a star atlas, they did not have the power to contend against the others here. Furthermore, even if they had grasped an intermediate magic, they would still get smacked into a sorry state if they weren't attentive. This situation was truly too chaotic, and no one was able to guarantee whether they'd be able to remain the champion after taking the attacks of the different groups. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.